Okay, this is coaching pre-conference number 2 with myself, Roxanne, being the coach and Lisa being the coachee. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Lisa, tell me a little bit about what's going on with your student.
Okay. With my student, we've been working on 3 specific areas. His weakest area, is comprehension. We've also been focusing on some word activities and also working to improve some of his writing to make it a little longer and include some more details.
Okay, so those are 3 great areas to work on. So you're really concerned about his comprehension so that he can get maybe some deeper meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Also some word activities to improve that comprehension, and also writing so that his writing becomes a little lengthier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Oh, I'm sorry, it's my turn.
It's okay.
I forgot that I'm the coach. What area of weaknesses are you trying to remedy? Or is there a strategy that you are trying to teach or develop so that your student will be empowered to improve his literacy skills?
Okay, I'm going to actually, for this lesson, I'm going to focus on word meaning and more specifically, I should say, vocabulary development. I'm going to, hopefully, my goal is for him to use some prior knowledge and some new information from new context to form meaning of unknown words. Okay. And I'll explain in future about the model I'm going to be using with you.
Okay, so I hear you saying that you're really going to focus on word meaning, specifically vocabulary development, and you're going to connect it to text, the text that you're reading, and it's probably a specific chapter because I know it's a short novel, mm-hmm. and you want your student to use some of his background knowledge and connect it with the text that he has in order to get the meaning of specific words.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So tell me about your lesson.
Well, my lesson is going to be based, we're going to use the Freyer model to help get to develop some of the new vocabulary. And I am going to display the model for him, and I'm going to let him see that what the model looks like, a blank one, and then I'm going to use a completed one to show him how it will look and the overall concept of it. And then I'm going to use a familiar word that we worked on last week that actually he didn't know initially, but he learned as we worked through it. I'm going to see it. Basically, my goal is I want to see if he's retained that information, and then I'm going to apply it to the Freyer model. And through my modeling, I'm going to have him help me a little bit, but I'm going to do most of the modeling and complete the Freyer model. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm done, when I'm finished modeling that, I have 3 vocabulary words from the chapter we're going to be reading. And he is going to complete 3 Freyer models on his own.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like your lesson basically has 4 main parts. You're going to use, you're going to try to teach him the strategy of the Freyer model. And the first thing that you're going to do is actually show him a blank model, mm-hmm. what it actually looks like, and talk about each component part. And then you're going to show him a completed one to show what it would look like mm-hmm. when he would be finished. Mm-hmm. And then to practice doing that with him, you're going to use a word that he learned last week, the word that he is familiar with, to see how the Freyer model will unfold for him when he goes to use that strategy. And then you're going to choose 3 words from the text that he is reading, that he's already read that section of the text. Mm-hmm. He has already encountered those words, and you're going to have him use the Freyer model to determine word meaning.
Yeah.
All right, thank
mm-hmm.
you. That sounds like a plan to me.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to see from your tutor?
Well, I want to see, I already know that he can decode words. Mm-hmm. That's been evident through my assessments. It's been evident through my daily lessons with him. So my goal is, I've noticed that he has difficulty with the word meanings. So my goal is to allow him to basically have another strategy when I'm through to be able to go into the classroom in September and learn when he comes across an unfamiliar word, what do I do? Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting him to hopefully take this knowledge with him. So not just be able to read the words, but say, well, what do I do when I come to an unfamiliar word that I don't know the meaning of? How do I go about attacking it? What are my steps?
So at this point in time, you're really thinking ahead because you know that your tutor is going to encounter some more challenging text in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to teach him a strategy of determining word meaning now, so that when he does come across some of these harder words, he's going to be able to get the meaning and have a deeper meaning of the story that he's reading.
Right, and as a future 5th grader, it may not just be in a narrative story. It could be in science, social studies, even in math. So he needs to be prepared in all aspects, in all subject areas.
Well, that's good that you're thinking ahead. I think that's going to give him a lot of support. So what do you see yourself doing to produce this desired outcome?
I'm going to be guiding him to use his thinking when working with the words, and encouraging him. In past lessons, we have used, I've instructed him to use some context clues, to use word parts, the morphology of words. So it's my intentions as we work through this lesson specifically to let him understand the Frayer model, and if he doesn't know the word, say, okay, well, let's look at these more difficult words and say, how can we go about attacking them? Can we go back into the story and read the sentence, how it's used? Or is there a smaller word within the word, in the bigger word that we know already, that can help us gain the meaning, and then from that complete the model?
All right, so you've already set him up for some success in prior lessons by having him really focus on context clues to get meaning of words, and also work with morphology. And do you see a prefix, or do you see a base word or a root word that you know, or a suffix that you know, to gain some more understanding of a particular word? So you've already set the table for him. This is just another tool for his toolbox.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. Thank you. Let's look at specifics. How will you, we've already talked about what you're going to do first and next, but how will you close your lesson?
I'm going to ask him in the lesson, and I think I may have talked about this already. I'm going to ask him to, when he does it independently, I'm going to ask him to choose one word that he feels that is the most difficult for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still going to give him a little bit of support with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also going to be maybe a word that he may know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, the one you know, save, because you're going to have to do it independently. And I'm going to ask him to put that aside. And then out of the two, I'm going to say, okay, which one is the one you want to work on? So I'm going to give him a little bit of choice in that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to direct his thinking, as I had mentioned before, in, if he doesn't know the meaning of the word, if there is something, for example, one of the words is undisputably.
Okay.
So I'm going to guide him to think about, is there a small word within it? Like, my goal is to hopefully that he'll see dispute within it,
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe look at the prefix of it. And then when he's all finished, after we're done pulling apart the word, work back to the definition and then fill in the other components. Once we've filled in the whole model, I'm going to remind him that, we can look at a word and say, I've never seen it, but there are other strategies to attack the word. It's not just sit there and say, I've never seen it before. And then I'm going to slowly let him go and try to do the other two words, which is microfilm and, off the top of my head, I can't think of the other word.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully give him some strategies to close it and just say, now I want you to complete it, and just to wrap up. And
all right, so I think what you're saying is you have selected 3 words for
Mm-hmm.
him to determine word meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of think that he already knows one of the words. So that's the word that you don't want him to work on first, because he is confident with
Right.
that word. So you're going to choose a different word that you're going to guide him through the steps of the process. And you're going to think about the context clues. You're going to think about the morphology, and then have him come up with a definition for that word.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the guided part of it, the guided practice.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to kind of step aside and let him use the Frayer model for the other 2 words
Mm-hmm.
independently,
Yeah.
to see whether he can apply it, whether he has taken ownership of this strategy.
That's correct.
Okay. How will you know that your directions and expectations for this lesson are understood by your tutee?
I'm going to analyze his responses and decide whether one, in my own thoughts, was this a good model to use for this type of strategy, and will I use it for future lessons? And if not, maybe is there a way that I could modify it, because the model itself could still be used,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe there's some components of it that I could change that would better fit my student.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is you're going to take a real close look at the 3 Frayer models that he has completed and see how well he has done on them. And then also, depending on what he writes, you can modify the model for future words and switch things up a little bit to help him gain word meaning.
Yeah.
How will you notice, what will you notice about your 2T that will signify that your lesson is successful? How will you know?
Well, I'm going to consider my analysis of the completed Frayer model, those 3 charts, and then I'm going to reflect on my own observations from the lesson. For example, like maybe specifically what I saw him do, maybe his initial response when he saw the 3 words, how he reacted, did he know one, did he not know one, and so on. And then I'm going to, that'll be my indicator to know was it successful when I put all those 3 things, when I put those things together.
Okay, so you're going to really think about
Reflect back.
the observations that you made while he was doing them, as well as the actual completed Frayer models.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. Good luck with your lesson, and hopefully everything will work out. He develops this strategy.
It's a new venture for me as well as it is for him, so I'm enthusiastic about it.
Well, that's half the battle.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.